countries talk about contributing to, the international commons, let's call it, to
Yeah.
global things, and they talk about why don't we reach out to other countries, and at the same time, countries still try to maximize benefits for their own country. This is what we call national interest.
Sure.
In other
Yeah.
words, even in the past, we were pursuing national interest, which means that we reached out and rewarded countries that benefited us, and we punished or tried to guard against countries that harmed us. The only difference is that because the context has changed, you have to reevaluate the national interest. In other words, is it beneficial right now to help country A? And is it beneficial now to protect yourself against country B? And given the chaos in the international order and the economic crisis we're facing, what are the tools that we need right now? Let's say if in the Middle East oil was at $140 a barrel, countries may contemplate using oil wealth in different ways than when oil is at $15 a barrel. Right?
Sure.
So
Yeah,
I think what we're seeing is that countries have to sort of reevaluate how do they basically protect themselves and protect their wealth and provide for their populations the best they can right now. And they have to sort of see what opportunities COVID presents them and what specific threats are post-COVID that maybe didn't exist before COVID. Now, the second part of this is a challenge that everybody's facing, which is it's one thing to conduct a foreign policy where you sort of can see 10 miles ahead of you. And it's a different kind of a foreign policy when you are basically not seeing the road in front of you. You're driving in a very thick fog.
Yeah.
And you have to be extremely alert, and you may make some mistakes, and you may hit a thing or two on your way. It actually requires, I think, in the, let's say, 5-year period, when we're thinking, it requires investing in capacity. So it requires pooling all your national capacity in terms of vigilantly monitoring the way ahead. Let's not even think about the regional level. Let's think about the US-China level. This has for decades been a fairly stable, if you want to call it, a beam that has been running under the international system. Yes, the Americans griped about China. Yes, the Chinese misbehaved. But for decades, this relationship was hugely predictable. To the point that you could actually build your economy and foreign policy around the certitude and certainty of US-China relations. Now, this relationship, nobody can tell you where it's going to be in 2 months. Is it going to become even more conflictual as we get closer to November in the United States? Is it going to become less conflictual and both sides see some sanity? We cannot predict how China is going to react to an aggressive United States, and we don't know how aggressive the United States is going to get. So literally monitoring US-China relations itself is going to become a full-time job for many countries. And that includes larger countries like South Korea and Japan, all the way to smaller countries like the UAE or let's say New Zealand. And in a way, there is no simple solution for this, except I think countries that recognize the problem sooner, like you just mentioned, and begin to build capacity for it, are likely to be able to better manage and navigate this, that those who right now are basically not paying attention to the fact that tomorrow is going to be very different from yesterday and are not actually building capacity for dealing with it.